Right, we've got an exclusive actually. We're about to go on the telephone to the man who might be riding Lossiemouth in the Champion Hurdle. But we're not going to say anything. We're not going to tell him who's on the panel. Let's see if he knows whether he's riding Lossiemouth.
I've not spoken to Danny, so he won't have a clue.
Well, now he knows you're here, Rich. That's the worst.
Oh, does he? That's all right.
But we can't see him, I don't think. Yeah, we can see him. There he is.
Good evening.
1 week dreadlocks, the next week just a massive mop. He is a Tote ambassador, and Danny, your hair, I mean, I'm not necessarily one to talk about hair, but...
I am.
Yeah. I love it when Rich warms up, honestly. We'll get onto that later, Rich. But you had the dreadlocks recently. They've gone. Why did they go?
Yeah, they don't last forever. Yeah, they're a good bit of fun. I was up with Jim Bulger recently, and to put one of his quotes from the time he had no approach, he was doing something out of the ordinary, and they said, "Why did you do that, Jim?" And he said, "Because I can."
Okay.
Yes.
To be honest, it looked quite cool. And you are quite cool, and you're a fabulous jockey, and I'm so pleased you're here tonight. First of all, are you, probably more than anyone else on the planet, just gagging for Townend to ride State Man in the Champion Hurdle, and then you get the call up for Lossiemouth? Is that the dream scenario for you?
What's that?
I'd love if it worked out that way. I suppose that like all those things, the decisions that they made later this week, and Paul will be watching everything, and will he make his decision? I've certainly put my hand up, and I'd love to go again. I think she's a big contender in the race.
Just talk us through that fall, which was a nasty fall. Rich has talked about it tonight. Incidentally, no blame put on you at all, just one of those things. But at that moment when she came down, how much horse did you think you had under you?
I had loads left, and I spoke to Paul afterwards. He had loads left as well. Obviously, I think I would have won. Paul thinks he was happy as well. Who knows? One of those things, I think what was definitely learned about Lossiemouth that day, well, it showed that she could jump a lot slicker than she did in Templegate at Christmas, and she fell, but I think the thing you take away from the race was her slick jumping up to that, and that puts her in there with finding the percentages needed to close that gap that she had with Constitution Hill at Christmas.
And the other thing we learned is that she can front run, which was something she hasn't done before.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tactical race on the day, and she's very much versatile. I'd imagine the Champion Hurdle will be run at a much stronger pace. King of Kingsfield will probably go to lead Brighter Days Ahead, and you have other options there, but Lossiemouth is very, very much versatile in what she can do, and she's a mare with huge ability.
We're going to be quick, Danny, because we've still got 2 days and handicaps to get through in about 35 to 40 minutes, which is not easy. So I'm going to ask you basic questions. The first one I think is almost the most important, because you're a man who has your own mind. We know that because who else would take out your boss's son in a race other than you? And, you're mid-race and you say, "Fuck off, Patrick." So we know that you basically don't give a shit. So the vibe in the camp is strongest for which 3 or 4 horses? Which are the ones that, as a team, you just cannot wait to run?
I suppose looking through it, the main one is Gallop and the Champ,
Okay, forget about him, Danny. Go on to the next one.
We're on to the next one. You have
Novice
in the Arkle.
Okay.
He looks, he rubbed a few fences around Leopardstown, but he needed a race like that at such speed to have him sharp and ready for an Arkle. The first day he won his beginners, he dawdled around and sprinted down the straight. For what he learned in Leopardstown, I think he's rock solid in the Arkle. other ones that look fairly solid. I think Final Demand, he's just got so much ability. He's proved his stamina. He doesn't lack speed, and yeah, I think you give it to the New Lion as it runs in that race as well. I think you'll give him plenty to think about. I think Final Demand was fairly rock solid as well.
Look at that, you're so confident you don't even know absolutely the name of the best British horse in the race. The News something or other. He's one of your ones anyway. He's got no chance against Armour Sheet. And there's a question about Final Demand going 2.5 if the ground dries out, maybe going 3 miles. But from what you're saying, you wouldn't be too worried about that.
I don't think so. I think he's got the speed. I would have made on him in Limerick at Christmas, and if you go back and look at the sectional times from the home turn down the straight, like I think that he hit 37, 38 miles an hour once I just let go of his head off the bend, and after going around Limerick over 2.5 or 2.6, like that was a serious turn foot to show there, and a truly run racer out in the DRF. Improved his stamina, so I think he's got plenty of options. I don't really see him having to go for the Albert Bartlett.
You did go fast then though, but off the top of my head the race was 33 seconds slow.
Which race?
The Limerick one.
Yeah, but the speed that he showed off the home turn, like a slow horse can't do that.
Yeah. And Kopek de Boards, a fan or not?
Kopek de Boards, I think he's very good, but it's a Supreme. There's plenty of them there that'll have a go at him. I suppose the one thing you'd have to credit Kopek de Boards is about his jumping. But the reason he didn't jump as well the first day, he went to Willie's as a store. He didn't come through the French system or the point-to-point system where they're schooling every day and they've learned everything they needed to learn about jumping before they even run the maiden hurdle. So he made his mistakes in Leopardstown. He's done plenty of schooling since, and he jumped a lot better at the DRF. So I think that probably washes the jumping question mark, and you're back then to his ability. I think he'll be hard to beat, but there's probably more strength and depth to the Supreme.
Okay, you've put us off, I think, slightly off Kopek de Boards, which is interesting. What about, have you seen Gaelic Warrior at all recently?
Yeah, he's looking great. I seen him on the gallop the other day. I suppose the season just hasn't really come together for him. You'd forgive him maybe at Christmas and think he was going to bounce back at the DRF. I probably thought he was going to be the one closing me down on Solness, and but I suppose with Gaelic Warrior, it was too bad to be true. If he bounces back to himself, he's got a lot more to offer, but so far this season, he just hasn't been himself.
So talk us through the best of Danny Mullins.
Ooh, the best of Danny Mullins, what a good ride.
I mean, that's kind of the gist, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Anything.
Put my head on the chopping block at the moment. I probably don't have a ride. I'd love if JJ Slevin got a bit of food poisoning. Solness would be a lovely one. He'll burn along in the champion chase.
So you definitely are not on him, yeah? Not.
Well, he's JJ's ride. I'm hopeful that Matata is confirmed for the race, and
I've been told
contract will.
Yeah, I've been told he's definitely not running. I did ask Willie that when El Fabiolo pulled out. I sent him a message and say, "Will you now run?" And he said, "No, we're waiting for Aintree, I'm afraid."
So we still have Matata. Just text Nigel and tell him that Matata is a right chance for the championship.
Yeah, he's not running. But is Solness really good, or has he just got lucky?
I know he's very good. Everyone said, "Oh, brilliant ride from Danny the last day." JJ found them all asleep at Christmas. The speed that he goes early in a race is unbelievable. It's very difficult for horses to keep up with that, and That's around Leopardstown over 2 mile 1. The champion chase is just short of 2 miles, so it's probably going to suit him a little bit better. Hopefully it doesn't rain. And I think he could give John Bond something to think about. It'd be foolish to say he's going to beat him, but I think he'll give him a lot more to think about than any other horse has this year, including himself when he ran into Tingle Creek. But change of tactics since then, and I think he's going to make it a very interesting race.
And Danny, I'm going to ask you a question here. You don't have to answer it if you just don't want to, because it's a nasty one. But you know Paul Townend better than any of us in this room, certainly better than I do, or most of us do. If Lossiemouth and Stateman were both declared for the champion hurdle, do you think Townend would pick Stateman as the defending champion without in any way putting words in his mouth? Just your opinion.
It becomes like a decision for Ruby back in the day, the time Denman and Carter Star. You know, it's very difficult to get off one that's already been there and done it, won the race. But Lossiemouth comes with unbelievable potential. You know, she's probably still the untapped potential of the race and has proven that she's only 2 lengths off Constitution Hill in the race in Kempton, with more to offer. You know, probably Gordon's mare's going there with a smoother run into the race, but I still think Lossiemouth is the unknown in the race.
And finally, Danny, is there a, away from the obvious, is there a lurker in the, I mean, maybe in a handicap, obviously we've got this French horse, it could be anything. Is there a lurker that, as a yard, you know that everyone's excited about?
To take on a hot pot, I think Hope by the Lead. He's been a different horse this year. He's shown so much more enthusiasm in his races. Tehufu, like, he's very good. He was second to Lossiemouth in the Hatton race. That's a fair level of form. But I think if you look at where Home by the Lead was last year in relation to Tehufu, and put that with how much more enthusiasm he's shown through his races and how strong he is in the finish, I think he has a big chance of winning Stairs Hurdle.
And just to let you know, just to warn you, the Tote have just tweeted, Danny Mullins has just said, I wouldn't mind JJ Slevin getting food poisoning. Just to emphasise, that was a joke, wasn't it? You didn't mean that, like, seriously, or did you?
I've told JJ already, and then they slated me. Every one of them slated me in the Lord Bagnall about sitting on the plane, so I have to get them all back.
Dan, thanks very much for coming on board today. If you were just to say, even the obvious now, the one horse from Mullins that will not get beat is...
Marshborough.
Wow, I thought you'd say Galloper. Danny, lovely to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
Hey, that was good.
Sorry, Paddy.
That was good.
You enjoyed that?
A few of these need to be quite long lecture.
Okay, keep it down, ladies and gents. Particularly, we have got a surprise for you. Because we learnt at half-time that apparently Megan is like literally like X Factor class karaoke, and she wants to sing a song.
No.
Hey!
Who wants to hear Megan singing a little bit of Lady Gaga?
Absolutely not. Can I just also remind everyone that Matt actually did go on X Factor, and if you didn't know that, it can be found on YouTube.
Right, we'll move on.
Hey, what's this all about?
Did you not know that?
No, is that right?
Yeah.
Right,
X Factor.
day 3.
Might be on my Twitter later. Could find
Shut
it
up! Right, day 3. Rich has not come here to listen to you.
Your X Factor, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I raised
Actually,
my
I did
hand.
it
I thought it
twice.
was great.
Twice I did it, actually, and it was
Quite
great.
right. Did you fail the first time? Didn't get through to the next round?
No,
Well, I
that gig
know.
lasted about as long as the old Dancing on Ice gig, did it?
Yeah. You bucked up. Me and Rich go back a little way. Tonight he's had a go at me about Dancing on Ice, call me an a-hole. We'll have words, Rich, one day. Right. Oh, God. Right, let's rein it back. It's not often I have to say that. Usually someone's saying that to me. Right, let's go. Is it the Ryanair, the first grade one on Thursday? Templegate says yes. Factor File, Ile Francais, Gaelic Warrior, Protectorat, the defending champion. We're not sure still about Spillane's Tower.
No, he doesn't run apparently.
Well, he might not run, but they don't seem to have made a decision quite yet. Let's start with Ben Pauling, who's been excellent so far, I think.
So, I heard somebody earlier cribbing Factor File, saying he hasn't beaten much and all the rest of it. I think Factor File looks like a very nice horse. I don't think he stays the Gold Cup trip at this stage in his career, and I think it's been proven this season. I think Dan's speaking very strongly Protectorat, but he's getting old. I think it'll be a true run race. Ile Francais will go from the front. He only has one running style. If there's one thing that everyone needs to remember, including trainers, jockeys, all the rest of it, if your horse is just a free-going front runner, do not try and sit it at the back of the field and restrain it, because it'll bleed, it'll make noises, it'll do everything wrong. But the best thing about these things is they're electric to watch, but the worst thing is they don't last forever. So they only have so many runs of being that exuberant. So Ile Francais on his day will be very hard to peg back, but let's go for Factor File to give him a hell of a shout.
Templegate. Ile Francais is interesting. He's not what I call a punter's friend, because I think we all are a little bit suspicious of Ile Francais.
Yeah, just with them bleeding and things in the past, you're always a little bit worried, aren't you? I mean, will Cheltenham suit him? Will it? We'll have to. When you like Kempton that much, are you going to be all right at Cheltenham? I mean,
I think 3 miles round Kempton, 2.5 round Cheltenham. The one thing about Cheltenham is you do get a bro. Around Kempton, when you're on it, you never get a breather.
Yeah.
Down the hill at Chapman.
Yeah, then you can go, okay.
Depends if he comes up a hill.
I mean, I'd love to see him at Aintree, to be quite honest. I think that would be perfect for him. But I like Jungle Boogie for the Placepot in this at a big price. If you're gonna make good money off the Placepot, you need to put a few outsiders in, and I think he ran well in the Gold Cup for a very long way last year, and I think this will be his trip.
Yeah, I mean, Rich, not much point in me coming to you again on this. If he runs,
He's got to get there. He's got to get there. The ground's soft. If he's ready to run, which is the question, the ground's soft, he'll run the Ryanair. If it's quicker, he'll run the Champion Chase. If it's quicker ground, he'll run the Ryanair.
Okay,
But he's
well,
got
that
to
clears
get
it
there.
up for us, really.
He's got to get there.
Yeah. Well, Danny seemed to say that he's perfectly okay.
He's got to get there.
Okay. Meg, he's got to get there, but who is there for you, in your opinion, as the winner?
I think this is one of the trickiest races of the week.
Okay, got the excuse in. Who might win?
I'm just putting it out there. The strong pace, I think, is really going to suit Protectorat. The drying ground is potentially not perfect, but he travels exceptionally well. Left-handed, we know he's best, and he looked right back to form last time. Harry Skelton will just sit as close as he can, being comfortable behind Ile Francais, and try and sort of pounce. So I think he's going to try and emulate what happened last season, and he's a very, very good horse on his day.
Yeah, his form suggests soft to heavy. For anyone who was here last year, we absolutely smashed last year. Luckily on the panel we latched onto the Skeltons, and we had almost all of them. I think the only one I didn't have was Langer Dan. And Protectorat was one of those. But the reason he did well, I think, last year was soft ground. I'm just not so sure about him on good to soft. But he's a fascinating. He's had 4 wind operations, Protectorat, but he's apparently in the best form of his life at the moment. Patrick, you won the Ryanair on a certain future Gold Cup winner. Just relive that moment for us. How good was that, Imperial Commander in the Ryanair?
Yeah, very good. And it was the reason he won a Gold Cup. I know you're not a massive fan of the race, but it really helped him. Look, Ile Francais, or whatever he's called, I think is meant for a horse like Factor File. I think Factor File needs a horse like him, almost like a pacemaker. He'll go very fast, and I just think Factor File, Protectorat's got a chance. Obviously, he would like some softer ground. I think the race is tailor-made for Factor File.
Okay, Paddy will be putting Factor Far into his Placepot with the Tote on Thursday. He might do an exacta with Spillane's Tower if they both ran, or you might do an exacta with
I just
Protectorat.
told you it wasn't running.
Yeah, but if he was, I'm just trying to get the word exactor in there, Paddy. Right, the Paddy Power Stairs Hurdle is the big race of the day at 4 p.m. Defending champion Tiapu. Let's rattle through this. There aren't many choices, to be quite frank. Meg.
I am with Tiapu. Second in Hatton's Grace. I thought it was a fine preparation. He goes extremely well at Cheltenham, and at a price, would we be silly not to put Langadan in each way, who comes alive at the festival. 14 to 1 probably isn't quite good enough to win us stayers, but he runs well at this time of year.
Rich Ricci, you've got, and it's a shock to most of us, Mystical Power now in here.
Yes, Mystical Power's had a funny old season. I think I'm disappointed in his performance so far. The step up and trip might suit him. He also has had a troubled passage this season. Look, he's got his chance, I think, on last year's form. You know, we know that Lossiemouth beat Tiapu, which was good, short of a trip for him. Look, if Mystical Power shows up in the way he is, and there's any movement behind him, you know, I own him with JP and John Magner, so if there's any movement on the day, you know, he's got his chance.
Let's go to Templegate, of course, the country's best tipster. We know you're the best tipster in the country because you wouldn't be Templegate if you weren't, because you'd have been sacked by now. So you have to be.
It's imminent.
The best tipster. Yeah. You say that every year. You survive. You're a great survivor. Who will win the Stairs Hurdle, Templegate?
If it's soft Tiapu, if it's a bit quicker, Lucky Place has got a good chance, I think.
Lucky Place, who was meant to go chasing this season, but they changed their minds after Ascot. And Nico again was telling me that they were going to run him again after he ran last time to see, you know, over 3 miles, because he's never gone 3 miles. But Nico is so confident he'll stay. He just told Nicky, don't run him again. Just send him to the Stairs Hurdle. Ben, I mean, you're a Hendo groupie. Do you like Lucky Place?
Well, I did a panel last night with Nicky, and he said the reason we haven't run it is because there's no point in finding out until the night, is there? Because we might as well have our bubble burst on the day, you know.
So good. We had Lucky was here last year, and he does a good Hendo. It's nothing like that.
But I think Lucky Place is a progressive horse. I think if everyone had looked at Lucky Place 2 years ago and said he was going to be this good, that we'd have all laughed. I think Tiapu reminds me of an old goat your dad used to train called Big Bucks.
You're joking?
I honestly think he's got the same style.
No, they're not. You can't put Big Bucks in the same sentence as Tiapu. That is so offensive to Big Bucks.
The style they run in. Behind the bridle, keep finding. Yeah. Is that all right?
No.
So Tiapu's shit then, is it?
In comparison, yeah.
Yeah, but Big Bucks
would have come up size and Ruby would have looked at
no, but he'd have had long loopy reins getting there, and he'd look like he'd be in trouble.
Ben, no one's with you on this one.
No, he's got the same style.
Here? Anyone? No. You've dug a hole here. It's time to get out.
No,
you're saying that Tiapu
he races behind the bridle. He looks like he's going to get beat and finds plenty. That'll do for a world hurdle winner.
Okay.
Paddy,
who won a world hurdle, a Stairs Hurdle, and tell us that just very quickly, because this is good stuff. This is the colour stuff I like. I think Rich will enjoy this as well, though he has just yawned.
100%, you're killing me.
Just tell us about winning on English Dreamer and how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy one bit of it actually. I drove in the gate and the trainer rang me. He said, you really shouldn't ride today because you had a fall yesterday, and I think it'd be brilliant if you took the day off. And I said, no, I'm riding today. And I thought, I'm going to get sacked probably after today. And English Dreamer won. I got absolutely no enjoyment out of it.
I mean, he's being serious because you knew you were going to get sacked, and you were sacked quite shortly after that.
Yeah, the pressure of that ride was... I don't think I've ever been in the toilet getting sick before a race, but I think, yeah, there's been one time where I rang my mum, I said, I don't want to ride today, and she said, just ride. It wasn't that day, but it was for the same trainer. And that's what the pressure of a job can do to you. It takes all the enjoyment. You watch jockeys celebrate at Cheltenham, you think it's just relief. Relief that you got to ride that horse again, relief that you might have a job for another year. Tough game.
Working for the wrong people, Pad.
Yeah, some of them.
Well, as Ben knows, horses don't always stay around. Just who wins?
Who wins? Tiapu, massive chance. I love Langadan. I think each way he loved the ground, and If he's too high for the Coral Cup, he might have to win this.
Yeah, I thought what Danny said was interesting about Home by the Lee. He's a funny horse, isn't he? He's the horse who only runs when there's a gate or something at the end, and he wants to go home at the end of every race or something bizarre.
Funny old horse, yeah.
But he was third last year. He's in the form of his life.
Yeah,
And
but the Cheltenham, the walkway to go back to the sort of paddock is about a furlong from the finish, and therefore he doesn't put his best foot forward at Cheltenham because he tries to.
Finished third.
Yeah, but he won't win because he won't go in front. He won't hit the front when the. That's what they say about him. Honestly, is if the exit is before the finish line, he just puts the handbrake on. Jesus. So if it unless I'm wrong, and I think the shoot is still in the same place it's always been at Cheltenham, then it's still a furlong from the finish.
I hope they put that in the small print when Rich gives his 500 grand for one, and then it turns out he won't win if the exit's in the wrong place on the racetrack. Crikey. Right, let's move to Friday quickly. Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. The Final Demand is now favourite for that, but of course we don't. I thought from what Danny was saying that they won't send Final Demand for this. The Big Westerner, the Yellow Clay, Jasmine DeVoe, the bumper winner, all in the mix. Jet Blue was impressive at the track last time, and Rich Ricci says
Port Tulane has a great chance. I think Port Tulane's a very fine horse. We like him a lot. He'll be a chaser all the way. Got beat first time out, but a lot of Willies did. Won next time out. We've kept him for Cheltenham. He's 20-1, I think. He's got a great each-way chance, my opinion. 25s, there you go. Port Tulane. He'll be 20s now. Port Tulane.
I like a horse in this race called Windigo. Jamie Snowden. He was second or third in the Shadow. He won well at Wetherby last time. I think he's tailor-made for a race like this. On and off the bridle, I think he'll finish very strong. I think he's got a massive chance.
Port Tulane.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him. Which race Rich is in?
The
Albert Bartlett.
You've introduced the Albert Bartlett when you meant to say the Triumph.
No, well.
He has. The first race on Friday is the Triumph.
Yeah, but.
You've said, let's go for the Albert Bartlett. And you
I know, well, I've gone to the Albert Bartlett, but I can't find Port. Is he in the Triumph, Rich?
No, he's in the Albert Bartlett. He's quite far down, 25.
What happens to the Triumph?
He's in about
Ben,
100.
what do you like in the Albert
I
Bartlett?
can't find him at all.
Oh.
50-1, I found him. Right.
What do I like in the Albert Bartlett? I think you spoke a lot of sense about Wendigo. He looked beat with the circuit to go Wetherby the other day, and Gav starts slapping him down the shoulder, and he just gets quicker and quicker and quicker, and he just motors over the line. He's a great, big, gorgeous horse, so that'll do. Apart from that, they're all raving about the Big Westerner.
Can I ask you just about mares in this race? Like, is it a race that you think is good for a mare?
I wouldn't have said so myself.
Right.
I think it's a tough race. We nearly won it last year, and it was the most unaggressive Albert Bartlett has been for years. We got an absolute freebie on the front end.
Jukebox man.
And there was all sorts of things we could have done differently, but we got beat ahead. But it wasn't a grueling race last year because it was run at a sensible pace. Normally there's 4 or 5 set it up, and those that come from off the pace in behind come and pick it up. So it's normally won by a 25-1 shot.
Yeah.
It's a real hard race to tip, so we should just move on.
Because effectively, Templegate, a lot of these are unexposed at this trip, aren't they? Not many of them have done it yet.
Well, that's why I quite like Jet Blue, because that's a horse that has proven over the trip and thought ran really well when winning the December meeting, wasn't it? Yeah, about 12-14-1, I think.
One for the Placepot?
Yeah, along with Jasmine DeVoe as well. I think they're the two I'll be putting
So
in
you
my
can do an
Placepot.
exacta, those two.
Well,
Jasmine
that'll pay fortunes if that comes in.
Well, that's the point of the exacta.
Yeah.
That's why everyone loves it. The Tote exacta, not to be missed. Right. Who hasn't talked about? Have you spoken about this?
Yes.
Okay. Who hasn't talked about this race
Megan.
before we go back to the Triumph? Megan.
I like Jet Blue each way. He needs to jump a bit better, but I think he's got a chance at 16s, and it's a race that loves to throw up big prices. If Final Demand goes here, I think it'll be very hard to beat, but Willie Mullins bingo, so we'll have to wait to see what happens. But I would, Jet Blue 16s each way.
I do actually like the Big Westerner. I just think she's just an incredible buxom beast. And who doesn't like one of those? Right. JCB Triumph Hurdle, Grade 1 is the first race on Friday. East India Dock, Lulamba and Hello Neighbour. East India Dock now favoured in most lists, ahead of Lulamba, which I've got to say, Ben, I am stunned about. If Henderson's had a good week, I'd be fairly certain Lulamba will go off favourite.
He'll go off favourite, and that is because of Nicky's record and ability to get these horses to go. Lulamba's a little bit, I believe, like Marchborough. He's not a juvenile type. So I'm a firm believer in a fella called Andy Holding. Some of you would know.
Speed figures, yep.
And he has this East India Dock doing a speed figure of like 76. Now, the average winner of a Triumph Hurdle registers as like a 68 or a 66. Anything above a 70 is a proper Grade 1 horse. This is done 76 unchallenged at the last meeting at Cheltenham. So Lulamba is going to have to be something serious to get, because this East India Dock is the brother to Burdett Road, but it's got a brain and jumps better. So I think he's going to be hard to beat. I'd love to say Lulamba because he's the gorgeous horse from the future, but East India Dock might be the juvenile.
But Templegate, you're dealing with a man who's not had a Cheltenham Festival winner and a man who is one of the most successful trainers in the history at Cheltenham. And as we've heard, these top trainers, they can ready them for this meeting.
Yeah, and I'm slightly put off by East India Dock having run so many times on the flat. I don't know, I know you could say that's not relevant, but I think this will be his 15th run, and that's a bit unusual for a Triumph winner. And Lulamba just looked huge style quality, I thought, at Ascot, and I think he's going to be a horse we're talking about for the next few years, and I think we'll win.
Paddy, a lot of people give a big thumbs up to Hello Neighbour. It's not just a two-horse race.
No, it's not. It's a very good Triumph, but I'm a massive Lulamba fan. At Ascot, he gave him £10. As a 4-year-old, that's so much weight, and he was so impressive. But for me, he's a horse I'd love to ride in the race. East India Dock obviously got a massive chance, but I like Lulamba.
And I'll be with Lulamba as well. Anyone else? Rich wants to say something about the Triumph?
Yes, I think to Paddy's point, we thought St. Lucie would win the Dublin Racing Festival. That's why Paul rode her. She was backed in the favourite. She went up 11-8. She was clearly not herself on the day. She wasn't right in herself the next day. We had a small problem, which seems to be the theme of our season. But she, I think she'll run a much, much better race than she did in the day. East India Dock is easy on the eye in how he's won and where he's won. I take the point about running so much, and that could be an issue. I expect St. Lucie to run a way better race. Draw a line through the one at Cheltenham, or pardon me, at DRF, 100%.
So, with a meeting so many short price favourites, this might be one, take a chance, 25, 33 to 1.
Each way, 100%, yeah.
Okay, St. Lucie, Rich Ricci, giving you one at a price. Right, the Gold Cup, I want everyone to give me the exacta on the basis that, does anyone think Galopin Des Champs doesn't win? Okay, so I want an exacta, which is the first two in the correct order. Ben, you're about to say something.
I think that Banbridge has to come into the reckoning with the way the week's going to dry up.
So he's in your exacta?
100% with Galopin.
Okay, Megan Nicholls, your exacta in the Cheltenham Gold Cup.
Yeah, Banbridge with Galopin. Galopin wins.
Patrick?
Yeah, it does look between the two of them, and I do agree with Ben. For Galopin, the one thing is he's great, and it'd be brilliant to see him win 3 Gold Cups, but if that does dry up proper good ground, will he bloody travel? His biggest problem will be getting by Galopin Des Champs, and that's what we'll all have to wait and see.
Rich Rob, Guy won't run, will he? Or will he?
My old friend, plotter, haydock lover, great fella, clumsy, gets hurt every race. If the ground's soft and it's a small field, he'll run brilliantly. If the ground's quick, he won't run. But he'd be in I'd Banbridge my exacta if it's on decent ground. If it came up soft like last year, I'd have Royal Pagaille in it. If not, he'll go for the Grand National anyway. But he's a lovely fella.
Yeah, the scenes when he won up a haydock and Rich was... You cried, didn't you, that day?
I did cry. That's because you weren't interviewing me. But no, I did cry because 100 Grade 1 winners is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
In this
100
game.
Grade 1 winners.
Yeah, and not with Willie, which was weird. It was very weird in the day. But it was nice to have it with Venetia, and she's lovely, and it was just great to do it, and the people there are very kind, and I loved it. And I've always found racing a great relief for me from the pressures of the city and everything else, and it was just a really special day. So thank you for mentioning it. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on about it.
Go on, Rich.
For me, as far as an exactor is concerned, what I want is a horse that effectively will look like it's not trying. Because you just want someone who has no interest in mixing it with Galopin des Champs at all. And should it run, and it's not absolutely certain, but for me, Corbett's Cross is the horse who will be ridden right out the back to try and finish second. And what I think you're looking for in this race, Banbridge will be trying to win it. That's no good to anyone as far as the exactor is concerned. Corbett's Cross ran pretty well at Ascot last time behind Pictory over a trick, clearly far too short. He didn't run that badly in the King George, and he needs 50 miles. So I'm very happy to stick it. Why are you looking at me as if I'm...
Well,
He'd have to be ridden to finish second. And,
I've just told you how he's going to be ridden.
I don't know. Yeah.
We just thought you might have watched a different race at Ascot to we did.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on.
All right. There's moments during these things you just begin to realise what some owners have had to put up with, don't you? Fucking hell.
100%.
Corbett's Cross will be ridden right out the back like an absolute jigger. You know, those ones who are waiting for another day, Ben?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Always trying.
Always trying.
Has anyone not spoken about the Gold Cup?
I thought Monty Starr's my pick for the
The exactor. Okay.
running on at the end.
Right. I want to come to handicaps. Ben straight away. I was lucky enough to speak to Ben at Cheltenham the other day, and he gave us two straight away that he was absolutely determined that these had cracking chances of big prices. So hopefully there are more. But Ben, talk us through your handicappers.
So whistle stop tour of the chances we've got next week. Henry's Friend is probably high enough in the handicap, but he's solid and it's not a great Ultima. So I'll start again for you, lady.
Yeah. And remember, Ben does know his own horses. He doesn't need to be told.
Henry's Friend runs in the Ultima on day one. He's in bloody good form. He's probably not that well handicapped, but I don't think he needs to be this year because I think it's pretty level. The other horses, I think, that are particularly well. Diva Luna should be near about even's favourite for this race if I'd got her in any form. But Diva's had a rich season. You know, she just hasn't quite been right. And I would like to think I've got her spot on. I'll be honest, I think she's in very good form. All her work in the last month has been very good, and she's come in her coat. So she runs in the Mares Novice Hurdle. Pick Rock in the 2.5 mile new novice handicap chase is a good shout, 20-1 each way price. But my new tip of the week is I think I've decided, so going back to my mate Andy Holding, no questions asked, on all known form in both the Supreme and the, what's the 2.5 called? Turners, comes out second rated behind Kopek de Board on his performance at Huntingdon on the Sydney Banks. That Sydney Banks race was very, very good. Jax Jr. went a million, he's raised 137, and my lad and Calafé en Vol of the McNeils picked him up. We just got pipped. It's very good form. I'm going to avoid the grade ones and run him in the boys race. He's 33-1, and I think he could be very good.
Bang. We've had a 25, 33 run to Rich and Ben as well. Rich, I just want to come to you because you've got actually two, I think, big chances that we haven't even mentioned. Let's first of all talk about Allegory de Bassi, who was closing in on Dino Blue the other day and could easily win the Mare's Chase.
So I'll tell you about Allegory de Bassi. I think that the trip was way too short for her, and we probably lost the race because Paul went wide, which he always does at the course. It's not a criticism of him. And we gave away too many lengths. Dino Blue, to me, is a dead 2-miler. If she runs, and she jumped great on the day, if she runs, and we've tried this twice now, we tried to have her covered as well, but I think she's probably a racing mare rather than a breeding mare. But we've tried twice with this race. Remember, 2 years ago, when Impervious beat her, she jumped the last a length and a half in front and couldn't get up the hill. If the ground is good on Friday, I think she's got a great chance. She actually might be my best chance of the week, depending where Lossiemouth runs. But I think she has a great chance. In handicaps, the other one is got a horse called O'More Park. I'm sorry about my accent, but it's O'More Park. In the handicap novice chase on Thursday, I think he's rated 140. He's been very unlucky. Was brought down twice when in contention. Finished second, I think, to Impair Pass, whatever it was. And then the last day, looked like he was going to win and made a hash of the last. Off 140, he'll get in the race. He's got a great chance. Friday's a very busy day for me. The other one in the handicaps, of course, sorry, Matt, I'm just trying to rattle it off so people can hear, is in the Boodles on the Tuesday. We've got Willie DeHool, who was the favourite at one point for the Triumph Hurdle. He's rated 140. He'll be top weight. 138 in Ireland, 140 in England. Be top weight. Look, my French people tell me he's way better than that. Ruby told me he's the best handicap horse I'll ever have. That being said, he's very weak and thin. Can he grow into himself? I don't know. And we may not run him there. We may run him in the Triumph. But he's a horse for the future anyway, and see what happens in the day.
Some good. I like Willie DeHool. Ben, you might have mentioned it and I just missed it, but I've tipped up Henry's Friend in the Ultimate. He'd have a good chance, wouldn't he? Is he running?
That was my first tip, but
Right.
yeah, he did a very good piece of. I worked him 10 days ago, and he's not a great workhorse, but I wasn't happy with what I saw in comparison to what I expected. I took him for a little quiet one yesterday, and he was everything I wanted him to be. Okay. And that's, we all know, and this is what Rich keeps coming back to, between now and Tuesday, there's a lot of time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time for a horse to shine or a horse to come off the boil. And so that's why decisions are made late sometimes, but I think he's come right at the right time.
And why did he flop in the National Hunt Chase last year?
Oh, because I ran him in the Reynoldstown about 3 weeks before, and he put his heart on the line and was knackered.
I think in the National Hunt Chase this time around, Transmission's a great each-way bet for Neil Mulholland. Stays 100 miles. Remember, he was the one at Plumpton where the jockey nearly fell off and did crazy things, and he went and won. He's got great Cheltenham form, closely related to Uti Couleur of Rebecca Curtis. Obviously, we all hope Rebecca wins the race just to do the interview. But I think he can reverse that form with Uti Couleur. I think he's got a great chance in that particular race. Meg, you got anything for the handicaps? Well, Dad must have something he's lined up, sure.
If we wing through Dad's best chances really quickly, for me, no drama this end, we've mentioned in the bumper. Jubilee Alpha has got a live chance in the Mayor's Novice. I think that
Montmirail, I think, can win again.
if he fancies it, would totally depend. He's not the most straightforward. Capital de Matan would have a fair each-way chance in the county hurdle, I'd say. They're probably the sort of top three for the old man. Couple elsewhere, I like the chances of Springwell Bay in the plate. He goes very well over course and distance. The new course suits him. He's unexposed in comparison to plenty in that race and could still be improving. And if he gets in, walking on air is in the Kim Muir. He needs a couple to come out, but if he gets in, he fell at the last Doncaster when looking like he might have won.
He trained that geezer.
Sorry?
Gary Brown trained that.
Yeah. And if he gets in, he will definitely have a big chance in the Kim Muir.
Paddy?
Yeah, if he gets in, he's got no chance in the Kim Muir. There's only one horse I got to mention before I go because we got Megan's
Is that like when
trade to get.
Constitution Hill couldn't be lost in
So,
Kempton?
my biggest snap of the week in handicaps or whatever else it is, I'm only going to go one and I'm going to make it quick. Johnny Who?
Which handicap?
Kim Muir.
Oh,
Derek O'Connor's been booked.
oh yeah. Is that definite?
Derek
Oh,
O'Connor's
that
booked.
is definite.
Why are you... Hold on. What do you think it's going to run in?
No. Just last night chat was that it, from the sort of JP squad was that it wasn't confirmed yet, but maybe it is now.
It was confirmed this morning that he was riding anyway.
I mean, let's face facts. If you talk to Frank Berry or AP McCoy, no horse's plan is ever confirmed. I mean, that's what they're there for, is not to confirm anything. That's their job. Templegate, come on.
Yeah.
You are the top tipster in the world.
The world now.
Yay!
Who do we lump on and put in our Tote place spot?
Yeah, Comfort Zone in the Coral Cup, I think, has got a good chance. Very well handicapped. Broadway boy as well as Henry's friend in Ultima. The course and distance form's important. Cribilli's back for another go at the plate from a lower mark. I think he'll go well. And I think one of the horses that might improve a bit is Joya Machine, who has maybe not been at full tilt for the last couple of runs, shall we say. Well, I think that one will go well.
What are you suggesting, Templegate? That people will try and
I
get a
think
handicap?
it's one of the ones who improves for it being spring or something like that, a bit like Langadan.
I also, one more in the Martin Pipe. No Ordinary Joe for Hendo is £1 lower than when second 2 years ago. He's a bit like a Petit Tonnerre. You kind of never know when he's going to pop up, but if he's ever going to pop up, I think it will be in this, on decent ground, £1 lower, No Ordinary Joe, and he's a big price at me. He's about 20 to 1 at the moment because it's that kind of race. Right.
Megan's one more to mention. Go on, Mike.
Oh no, there were just quickly. People will have probably read about the horse Cote.ie. Not again. We don't know for definite where he goes. But Ruby last night said he's more like a Stateman than a Galopin de Champ in that he's very much a speed horse, and therefore he hopes he goes the county hurdle route, and could be a good thing.
There we go.
£20 challenge. I don't think we haven't got any
No,
charity
he
bets, have
means
we?
it's got about £20 in hand, I think.
Oh, £20 in hand. I was going to do a £20 charity bet. I don't think we've got any. Let's pretend we have. Let's say the Tote have given us £100 each. Templegate, where do you put your 100?
50 quid each way on Jungle Boogie in the Ryanair.
Fair play. Rich Ricci.
I would say that could be at the end of the day. You never know with me. I try to be as honest as I can be. I would say my bet would be £50 each way, Portune Lane and the Upper Bartlett.
Okay. Ben, you've got a whole host to choose from in your lot.
I'll go 50 quid each way on no questions asked in the boys' race. I didn't know where I was running until this afternoon. So that's the first time I've actually decided, and now I've told you, I've convinced myself. So there you go.
Are you a man who changes his mind?
Never.
Okay. Megan Nicholls.
£100 win on Cote.ie, whichever handicap he runs in.
Gold.
How many French horses bomb out when they haven't run in this country?
Not when they're trained by Willie Mullins and get a campaign to go straight to the festival.
Righto, next one.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Gold Cup hero.
£50 each way on Wendigo and the Albert Bartlett.
Well done.
Okay, well, if I could get the 3 places, it would definitely be Django Bay, but I don't think we can. So I'm going to go 50 each way on Be Aware in the county hurdle. Get the fuck in. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. 50 each way. I turned into Steve Mellish. I just don't know. 50 each way on Be Aware in the county for Skelton, who I think are the best trainers for getting a handicapper ready for a handicap.
Coral Cup.
Yeah, Coral Cup. Coral Cup. No. County sorted out already. So that's just about it. Thank you for mostly being a great audience. Thank you to the Total sponsors. Rich Ricci, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Pauling, Megan Nicholls, Patrick Decker Brennan, and Templegate.
Yeah, definitely see you there. Have a drink. Be great.